Yo, what is good, yo? It's your boy Ty back here with another episode of our Extreme Makeover My Team edition. And we're going to be going over 8 or 9 squads today and what I would personally do to make some adjustments. So if you see your squad here, these are the adjustments that I would make. If you see a squad like yours on here, or some of the players that I drop, some of the players that I add, you can take that for your squad as well. If you're new to the channel and have not yet, please smash the subscribe button as we're on the road to 35,000 subscribers. The recent support has been ridiculous, and I appreciate you guys so much. So starting today off, we have a squad sent in by Mr. Jonathan Isaac, and he basically has no MT to work with, which is kind of tough given his squad. As you guys can see, Jaylen Brown's a reward and Blake Griffin's a reward, and his bench is I don't want to say it's a mess, but it can definitely be improved, especially Chuck. So there are a couple of things that I see here. Monte Ellis is fine, but I think for his price, John Stockton is better. I think you can get a badged out Stockton for basically 100K, and that's where I would lean and sell Monte Ellis just to start things off. And then other than that, Rafer Austin's okay, Victor Oladipo is okay. But there are better cards out there. Like, if you could pick up Stockton and run him with Monte, or even pick up a Darren Williams type card, one of those cards to run instead of Rafer is who I suggest. But right now, Rafer is fine. Victor Oladipo is fine. The next thing I think you need to focus on is that small forward position. In this situation, though, I would maybe look towards two guys that are on the top of my list: Klay Thompson and Nick Anderson. For this squad and for your budget, I think Nick Anderson is probably where I would lean. As far as just a new guy to pick up to your squad, a Ruby, that is very solid. And for now, this is this upgraded squad that I would use. This next squad here was sent in by RT on Twitter. It says he has about 40K to work with, and this is one of the most intriguing squads that I have seen this far. And the reason I say it's intriguing is because he's running Rafer and Darren with a shooting guard at small forward and a small forward at power forward. Like, just look at every position, right? He has 2 point guards. I consider Monte a point guard in both his starting lineup and bench. Both of his small forwards are shooting guards. Both of his power forwards are small forwards. And both of his centers are power forwards. So it's intriguing what he's doing with his lineup here, to be completely honest with you. And I don't necessarily mind it, but there's not a lot of height out there. And so that's the one downside that I see, as well as I hate Kevin Love, and he's on the court. So with the Kevin Love situation, it's kind of difficult because I don't love that many centers in the game. But I think for his value, you get more out of Pink Diamond Amari Stoudemire than a Kevin Love. Especially if you can find Amari badged out. He's going for pretty cheap right now. That's where I would tend to lean over Kevin Love. Other than that, I like Monte. I like Stockton. I like D-Will. I feel like for your squad, though, what you're missing is I don't know. I would say between Rafer, D-Will, Stockton, and Monte, you got to choose one to get rid of. And for the MT sake, I'm going to get rid of Monte Ellis, move Klay there, PG there, and I'm going to do it. A lot of people might not agree with me, but I think Diamond Giannis definitely still belongs on every single court. He is so elite. And if you don't want to go with a guy like Giannis, you could go with, there's other guys in the game that can stretch the floor a little bit more than a Giannis, for example. But the big thing that I see is just trying to save the majority of your MT. Because once we get super packs, Monte Ellis, who is going to be in them, is going to go way down in MT. Giannis will not be in them, so he'll hold his value probably as long as they don't release anything from season 1. So that's just kind of my thought process behind why to pick up Giannis and sell Monte. Because when they release super packs, the all of season 2 players are gonna go way down in value. But this squad here is a decent enough squad to rock out with. Next squad here was sent in by N9 on Twitter. Says he has 300 to 400K MT to work with, and I honestly love his starting lineup: Stockton, Jaylen, Zion, Blake, and AD. If all these players are fully badged out, which he said Stock was, which is the guy I'm most concerned about, this starting lineup is insane. I love it. Honestly, a top 2 point guard, obviously Steph's up there. Then you got JB, Zion, who might be the best small forward of the game, Blake Griffin, and AD. I love it. Okay, his bench, he goes Monte, Victor Oladipo, Glenn, Giannis, and Tim. I love his front court. I love Giannis and Tim. Victor Oladipo, I'm unsure about. I personally am unsure about Monte, but a lot of people like him. So if he's fully badged out like he said he was, that's fine. You can hold on to him. So now I'm looking here: Victor Oladipo and Glenn Robinson. Which of these guys can I upgrade? And I'm going to tell you to do this. Wait until Tuesday when super packs drop. Get this guy. Okay. wait until Tuesday to get Pink Diamond Grant Hill, but definitely pick him up. Grant Hill is so elite, and that's the guy I would add to your squad. Now, I don't know, he's still going to be super expensive even after the fact of super packs, but once super packs drop, his price you will see it go down, and that is definitely the guy that I would add to your squad, and that might be it. The next guys, obviously Monte, I'm not a huge fan of, but he is fine, he can hold it down. Glenn is okay too. I mean, I like his release, and so he's just fine. I definitely like the overall makeup of this squad. This next squad here was sent in by my guy Paxton on Twitter. Says he has 250,000 MT to work with, which I personally like a lot. So he's probably saving a lot of this up, obviously, for the super packs that are coming out. So with this squad here, I do see a couple of things. The first thing is Dave DeBuscher. Now, why play him when a guy like this exists for super cheap? Pick Nick Anderson up. You're going to have a lot more success, at least on the offensive end, with Nick Anderson than Dave. And so everything else I'm just going to go over. I like D-Will, Cooper, Clay, I like those. Boris Diaw, Cat. I like all that, especially on a budget. Those are perfectly fine players. Mitchell, Jimmy, Nick, Larry, and then you got Sam Perkins. Now, Sam Perkins is terrible. Okay, I'm just going to say that right now. He's absolutely terrible. Now, I get super packs are going to come out, and when that happens, expect this guy to get really cheap again, okay? Because he's going to be a popular pull in super packs, I have a feeling. So wait till Tuesday. Pick up these two players on Tuesday, when hopefully we get super packs on Tuesday. And then you can start building your team from the ground up here, because you're going to have 250,000 to work with. So if there's any of the new cards that you want that are going for cheap, such as, let's say, a Monte Ellis ends up going for cheap, or even a guy like, let's say, an Amari Stoudemire, for example. You want to upgrade Cat to Amari. You can do all of that stuff once super packs happen. But for now, pick up Nick Anderson. Pick up, even if you can find a cheap Bargiardi now, it's not going to hurt you. You might lose 10k MT when super packs drop, but that's not the worst idea. Especially if you're just trying to tide yourself over until Tuesday. Picking up those two pieces is a great start. This next squad here was sent in by Clutch Falcon on Twitter. Says he has 30k MT to work with, which isn't a ton, especially when you look at his lineup, in which John Wall's locked in, Jaylen Brown's locked in, Josh Smith's locked in. And so with that, we gotta figure something out. So Paul George is staying. I absolutely love Paul George. Dikembe Mutombo, he can stay as well. If you like Mutombo, and obviously if you're still rocking with him at this point in the game, you obviously found something with Dikembe. So those guys can stay as well. Bill Russell's going to stay. So really it comes down to the 1 through 4 position on the bench. Which guys do I want to stay? Which guys would I like to go in? And so the problem with this that I see is I don't like David West at all, okay? And I'm not going to put it lightly. I don't personally like the card. And so what I'm going to do here, it might be different from what a lot of people would do. I'm going to get rid of him, move Paul George there, Chris Mullin there, and then I'm going to add a guy in Nick Anderson. For now, I think he is a great budget option. Now, once Tuesday hits, once that Tuesday drop hits, then you can maybe pick up, you know, guy, because the market's going to be down as a whole. Even though Clay was released last season, he might be cheaper. You might be able to find some other shooting guards that are cheaper, but I think Nick Anderson gives you more than David West just in that. And so other than that, at the point guard position, again, I would personally, I like John Stockton more than Monte, but if you rock with Monte, that's on you. I mean, that's surely on you. If you rock with him, you definitely can continue to do so. But the thing I like that this lineup does gives you versatility, and I like playing PG at the 4. I truly don't have a problem with it. That's actually where he played in qualifiers for me. And so really this is the lineup I would rock out with for now. Your next upgrades, obviously Chris Mullin, him and Nick Anderson. Those are your two next upgrades in my opinion. And honestly, you can I want to so badly put Grant Hill in the lineup, but I can't because the MT isn't there. But I really do like what this lineup has right now. This next squad here was sent in by Eli on Twitter. Says he has 80k to work with, and I don't mind his squad, but at the same time, I don't love his bench, okay? His starting lineup is fine. He says Latrell has range, okay? Cowens and Blake are badged out, okay? I like his starting lineup, but I think it needs to just be a little bit more balanced. And so the tough part is, the toughest part is that none of these players I can sell. So the problem I see, right, you have 80k and I can't sell any of these players, okay? So you really have 80k to work with to maximize this squad, and that's the toughest part. Who can you get for 80k to help with this squad? The only guy I can think of is Paul George. That's it. That is legitimately the only guy, in my opinion, that I can think of that can make this squad for that price range. It's tough. This squad's good, and it's just tough because I hate running the double bigs, especially with Amari and Mikan, who are both just they're not knockdown shooters. and so that's where it's tough. But I do think Paul George could help the squad out, and that's probably who I would add. The next kind of steps, obviously Molin, Stad, those are the next guys you have to probably try to replace, but it's tough with only 80k and everything locked in. This next squad was sent in by Jay on Twitter. Says he has 140,000 MT to work with, and so I don't mind his guards in Darren, Clay, Neek, or Donovan Mitchell, Richie. I don't mind that, but just look at his front court, okay? Moses Malone and Bob Lanier. That's a I don't want to be mean. That front court can use some work in my opinion, and so that's what I'm here for. It says he has 140,000 to work with. So let's start with selling. You don't have this locked in, right? Selling this finals player here in Moses Malone. Okay, that's where I think you need to start. Obviously, sell Moses Malone and even get rid of Alonzo for now. We'll add whoever we need to there. But those are the first two things I would personally do. The next thing I'm going to do is tell you the problem is you got to kind of prioritize which of these players you want to spend up on and which players you want to save on, because that's the biggest thing I see. I think Paul George can fit in a lot of lineups. You're seeing me add him to a lot of lineups because I absolutely love Paul George and what in his versatility that he can bring. The thing that I hated about your starting lineup is that you had two inside bigs running alongside each other, which is just almost impossible to do. And here's the thing: you had Alonzo Mourning, you had Moses Malone. Obviously, if you're still running them, you're probably pretty comfortable with them. Keep one, get rid of one. So let's say you like Moses Malone more, just move him to the backup center position, get rid of Alonzo Mourning, and now your squad's already looking a lot better. The only other adjustment I might make to this squad is with Richie. Obviously, if he's badged out, it's a different scenario because Richie's not bad. He's not bad at all. But I think just as a purely my preference, give me Nick Anderson over him, and this is the squad I would rock out with. So the last squad today was sent in by my guy Justin on Twitter, and as you guys can see, I don't know if you guys can see this because my face cam, but he has Donovan Mitchell, Klay Thompson, and Cat at the end of his bench. So obviously he's running a 13-man, and the problem with that is, first of all, I'm just going to get Shea out of here and move Klay right there. That's the first thing I'm going to do with the squad, because Shea is not good enough to play, okay? Other than that, their squad is good, and I agree with you. He wants to save a lot of his MT for Season 3, and I 100% agree. Or at least until Tuesday when we do get super packs. So with that being said Donovan Mitchell, before Tuesday, I would sell Donovan Mitchell. Now the same thing I'm gonna say with Cat. Cat, I'm selling you before Tuesday. You could always buy those players back, but right there, you're looking at a decent amount of MT. So obviously your starting lineup: Stockton, Jalen, PG, Giannis, and Blake, I'm not gonna touch. Clay is fine, Buck Williams is fine, Bob Love is fine. So now we're down to two positions: Richie, Guerin, which I'm gonna tell you to hold on to Richie. That's fine. Now, once the new content, or once we get super packs, if you can pick up a cheap Monte Ellis, Darren Williams, just an upgrade over Richie, that's maybe where I would lean. And then with Kevin Durant, once super packs come, if you can snag this guy for decently cheap, that is the big addition I'm going to tell you to make. And I know it's a lot of MT right now, but once super packs hit, he might go down below 230, maybe somewhere down there, and I do think he is going to hold his value very, very solid. Grant Hill is very, very, very good in this game, and this is really the squad I would tell you to run for now. Obviously, you can upgrade the center position eventually from Buck Williams to a guy like Tim Duncan eventually, but for now, you are just fine with this squad. But that is going to wrap it up for my last squad on my Extreme Makeover My Team edition. I hope you guys did enjoy the video. If you didn't see your squad in this episode, make sure to stay tuned for next weekend where I will do another episode of this. Drop a like on the video, subscribe if you are new, and as always, man, I love you guys, and have a blessed day.